Hello again, my beautiful bookish babes, and welcome to Jennifer Reads. This is my review for The Lost City of the Monkey God by Douglas Preston. This book is one that I had picked up thinking that I was getting a fiction story and ended up with a non-fiction story. So, quick synopsis on this book. So I'm going to read this off of my iPad. I can't remember this whole synopsis, and I find this is the best way to give you a quick book description. A 500-year-old legend, an ancient curse, a stunning medical mystery, and a pioneering journey into the unknown heart of the world's densest jungle. Since the days of Conquistador Hernan Cortez, rumors have circulated about a lost city of immense wealth hidden somewhere in the Honduran interior called the White City, or the Lost City of the Monkey God. Indigenous tribes speak of ancestors who fled there to escape the Spanish invaders, and they warn that anyone who enters this sacred site will fall ill and die. In 1940, swashbuckling journalist Theodore Moore returned from the rainforest with hundreds of artifacts and an electrifying story of having found the lost city of the Monkey God, but then committed suicide without revealing its location. 3/4 of a century later, best-selling author Doug Preston joined a team of scientists on a groundbreaking new quest. In 2012, he climbed aboard a rickety single-engine plane carrying the machine that would change everything. LIDAR, a highly advanced classified technology that could map the terrain under the densest rainforest canopy. In an unexplored valley ringed by steep mountains, that flight revealed the unmistakable image of a sprawling metropolis, tantalizing evidence of not just an undiscovered city, but an enigmatic lost civilization. Venturing into this raw, treacherous, but breathtakingly beautiful wilderness to confirm the discovery, Preston and the team battled torrential rains, quick mud, disease-carrying insects, jaguars, and deadly snakes. But it wasn't until they returned that tragedy struck. Preston and the others found they had contracted in the ruins a horrifying, sometimes lethal and incurable disease. Suspenseful and shocking, filled with colorful history, hair-raising adventure, and dramatic twists of fortune, The Lost City of the Monkey God is an absolutely true eyewitness account of one of the greatest discoveries of the 21st century. I have to say, that sounded really, really interesting to me. I picked that book based entirely on its synopsis. I kind of had a vague understanding who Douglas Preston was. He comes from Douglas Preston and Lee Child fame, where they collaborate on books together. Preston and Child stories, books. And I've read some of their other stuff, but this one drew me in based on the kind of Indiana Jones swashbuckling entire point of view that I thought was going to be coming with this story. I initially thought that this story was based on true events and written in a non-fiction sort of way. I kind of missed the part where it says entirely true events. I'm a bit of a lazy synopsis reader. I always read the synopsis and kind of make up what I think it should say in my own head. Not always the best way to go about it. I have miserably been let down by books frequently because of this situation. So this book was one that, like I said, entirely drew me in based just on the synopsis. This sounded so exciting. So here's my quick and dirty review. I enjoyed the book. I loved it for what it was. I always enjoy anything historical. I love anything that talks about ancient civilizations. I love anything that has to do with curses, that has to do with discovering artifacts. All of these things I find intriguing. But was the story as interesting as the synopsis made it seem? Not really. These things all did happen, but they make them sound so much more adventurous in the synopsis than what actually happened in the book. I think the book was a little bit more of a dragging book. You did delve into the history of the Honduras. You delved into the history of their economy, of their civil wars. You delved into the history of all these explorers. You talked quite at length to all the different scientists. So this was really a story of exploring the civilization. What I got from the reading of the synopsis was not what I got from the book. I'm glad I read the book, but I kind of read it under false pretenses, I feel. And I would have really enjoyed the book that the synopsis had said. That they did come back with a terrifying disease, but it nowhere near was as dramatic as it sounded. Now, granted, I don't have this disease, so maybe to them it was way more intense than what I am thinking in my head, or even the way it was portrayed in the book. I don't think the book was poorly written so much, is that it was kind of a cross in between trying to be nonfiction, but told in a fiction point of view. And it kind of lost some of its voice and translation in those areas. I wasn't a huge fan of how the voice of the story, and I'm sorry, Mr. Preston, I don't mean to offend you in any way, but this story was just told a little bit too one-dimensional for me. Perhaps I just, because I had it in my head that this was going to be more nonfiction and more robust in the telling of the adventures, that it came across as a little more dull, I want to say, but yet I don't know how that is what I'm trying to say, because the whole experience wouldn't have been dull. So I just feel like I kind of got a little bit misled in that situation. And again, that could be entirely my fault. I would give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, I'm going to say. I would definitely recommend it to people who are into those types of stories. If you enjoy exploring, if you enjoy discovering things, if you enjoy the lost civilizations, if you enjoy reading about the explorations of these places, I would highly recommend this book. But just go into it knowing that it's not as adventurous as what the synopsis says. I would definitely not look at it. And even when you look at the book, the cover, it looks a lot more adventurous than what actually was written inside. I honest to God thought this was just a based on true events kind of story, and he took artistic license with it. So in that way, I found that I didn't quite enjoy it, and I think that's where it missed the mark for me. But again, this is in my own opinion. I would highly recommend this book to anybody that enjoys those kinds of stories, but I don't think this is a book for everybody. I think somewhere along the line, people are going to either get a little bit bored with the slower pace of it, or get lost in the scientific talkings in it. So I would just recommend going into this book with a bit more of an open mind than I did, and realize that it is based on true events, and this is an accurate retelling of the situation that happened. So tell me what you think if you've read this book. Leave comments down below. And I think I will be back in a few days with my next book for review, assuming I can get it finished and read. So until then, goodbye.